This is Tyler Lewis here with Phenom Hoops. On today's show, we have a very special guest, one of my mentors along the way, coached me at a very early age, Twuan Wilson. Thanks for coming on here today, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Like I said, you put a major impact in my career and on my life, not only on the basketball court, but just in the real world. Getting to be coached by you was a privilege, and I'm excited that you're on here today. You're now the head coach at Legion Collegiate Academy. And the one thing I'll say about Coach is he's going to care about you no matter on or off the court, just a special person. So, Coach, how many years have you been the head coach at Legion?
This will be my second year.
Second
Last
year.
year was our inaugural season.
Sounds good. That's awesome. How do you feel about this season coming up, and how do you feel about the season last year in your first season?
I guess I'll go with last year first. It was kind of rough. We didn't have a home gym, so everything we did was on the road. But I will say the guys, man, I mean, they picked it up, perfectly. They was ready every game. We had a very tough schedule. We didn't have a region to play in last year, so a lot of games we scheduled, against some of the top teams throughout the North Carolina, South Carolina, and I think they just prepared us for this year. This year, man, I'm excited. I mean, got guys. I only lost one senior last year, so got everybody coming back. Picked up a few new guys that's definitely going to help us out a lot. I'm very excited about our chances to win state this year. That's the ultimate goal for us is winning state. You know me for a long time. I don't do more victories. So that's our goal right now is to win state, and we're doing everything we can to reach that goal.
That was sort of my next question about what are your goals for this year. But I mean, you sort of knocked it out. But what I know you have no moral victories, but you have a lot of really good players on your team this year. Who do you think is going to be maybe a breakout player, and who on your roster are you really looking forward to keep coaching throughout their whole high school career?
I think right now Marcus Kell is probably one of the biggest breakout players. I think I can have this year. Shane Blakeney is another one. Those two guys, you got Marcus Kell, 6'7", can shoot the lights out of it. Working on a few things now, being more aggressive, getting to the basket. But I think his ceiling is so high. Shane Blakeney, another 6'3" point guard, very high IQ. Still learning the position, but he has a certain competitiveness that I love about him. Working on him being a leader, and I think he's making strides in that, but never been in a position to do those things before. But those two guys, I feel like can have a breakout season for us. And the biggest one, man, I tell you, this kid is a sleeper. 2023 class, Kanye Nelson. Man, watch out for that kid. I mean, he has all the intangibles to be great. And once he put it all together, because right now at a young age, he has the basketball IQ, he has the leadership qualities, he has the work ethic. Just a few positions we need to put him in to help him succeed. But he's going to be one to really watch, and that I'm going to enjoy coaching for the next few years.
How long were those three players at the school, like when you first got there last year, or did they just come in this year and you'll be able to coach them for the first time?
Marcus and Kanye were there last year. This year is Shane's first year.
Well, I know. Watched Marcus a little bit so far. I'm looking forward to following his career along the way. Like you said, one negative that I can only think of is he just needs to become more aggressive out there. And at the end of the day, I mean, he has all the intangibles to become he's already a great player, but to keep continuing to grow in that role. So I'm excited to see him, especially with you, because I know you're only going to give him confidence along the way.
Yeah.
So where do you see? You go ahead.
That's one thing, I tell all parents and coaches, the first thing foremost I teach is confidence. Like I said, you've been knowing me for a while, that's you got to have confidence first. Once you get the confidence in yourself, then that's when we bring in the skill development and the fundamentals of the game and the IQ of the game. But you can have all that stuff. If you don't have confidence in doing it, it's not going to make any difference.
You're right. Confidence is probably 90% of the game right there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have confidence, the skill work that you put in and workouts just gets thrown out the window. And I know you kind of build confidence with skill work, but I think your confidence is sort of built in how you perform as well, and the coach giving you that confidence in practice or just being that positive influence you are. So where do you see this program in the next 5 years?
Hopefully still growing. Hopefully have a few state championships under our belt. You know me, man. I love winning. You know, a little arrogance there. I want people to talk about Legion. You know, I want people to put Legion up there with some of the top schools throughout the North Carolina, South Carolina realm. And I feel we can get there. We have a lot of kids coming up, you know, through the JV team that's really tough and going to help us succeed and help us build on the program that we're starting to build now.
And what is if you looking into it, what's one thing that you would say Legion needs to improve on? Because I know last year you said y'all were doing everything in a gym outside of campus. So what's the one fault and the one positive that Legion has to become the best program they can be in the next 5 years?
I think the fault is right now not having a weight room. We have to get stronger. That's probably our biggest weakness right now as a team collectively. That's probably our biggest weakness. The positive is just have committed kids. I mean, all these kids are committed to wanting to get better, wanting to get stronger, wanting to get faster, learn the game. They're committed to each other. You know, so I think that's the positive I can take out of it.
Sounds good, Coach. You coached AAU in high school for a very. I mean, I know AAU for a very long time. Coached me back in 2004 probably, and you've been successful at both levels at AAU and high school. Why have you been so successful at both AAU and high school?
I think it's the kids. You know, I get kids every year, man, that believes in me. I believe in them. They want to play for me. You know, they trust me. I trust them. They love me. I love them. So it's all the kids. You know, kids just really want to have fun and play the game the right way and play hard. You know, so I think that's the biggest thing. You know, picking the right kids and the kids choosing to play for me is the biggest thing.
So do you attack? I mean, would you attack AAU coaching the same way as you attack high school coaching?
Yeah, it's a little different. Like AAU, you know, the rules are obviously not the same. You know, AAU, we get in the gym, we stay in the gym 5-6 hours every single day during AAU season. High school, you know, you can't do that. You have certain times when you can work out with your kids and develop your kids. So you kind of have to depend on them going somewhere else and hopefully getting the right training and development they need from somewhere else. The schedule obviously is different. You know, AAU a lot of times, especially on the level that I like to play on in AAU, you playing against the best competition, you know, throughout the country. High school sometimes it's not like that. You know, so that's just the biggest difference for me.
How many days a week are y'all allowed to go in high school or hours a day?
Right now our schedule is started November 2nd. We go 5 days a week. We go 5 days a week. We usually go about 2.5 hours a day, you know, which to me is not long enough. You know, I like to be in the gym. I'm a gym rat. But that's our schedule for now, you know.
With the school year coming up, I know you said you start November 2nd. I know you're going to have a strong schedule, but how do you think like the whole COVID situation is going to throw some things off this year? Or do you think you'll be able to play the full schedule the way it is?
I'm hoping we're going to play the full schedule the way it is, but man, if 2020 taught us anything, we never know. You know, one day
Crazy.
is one rule and next day is another rule, or you know, you got to cancel this game. You know, I just try to tell my guys, man, don't do anything to compromise the season. Wear your mask, social distance. You know, try your best to do everything you possibly can. And I tell the parents the same thing. You know, let's do everything we can not to compromise the season.
I love it. I mean, if you're going to have a season, you got to do those things. You got to wear masks and social distance. You got to do everything you can to put yourself in the situation to play those games. And I remember when I was right before I got out of college coaching, we were dealing with the same thing. And we always said, don't put the team at risk. Don't put yourself at risk, and make sure you're making smart decisions every day, because one positive test can throw 2 weeks of your season out of the way.
Yes, exactly. And
And
we
and and you can't get those games back. And so that's one thing. Players just have to be smart and always put the team above self. But now really just be really selfless during the process and make sure they're doing all the right things to just help everyone. That's the right thing to do in the country right now and to stop the virus. So what is your mission statement for your team?
Biggest thing I tell them, and the kind of our team motto that we use is what you get out of life is what you put into life. You know, and it's the same thing on the basketball court. You know, you can't go do a between the legs crossover if you've never done it before.
Yep.
You know, you have to practice those things. So everything you do in your training, you have to translate that to the game. You know, and I always tell kids I would never ask you to do nothing you can't do. You know, so that's our biggest thing, you know, this year is what you get out of life is what you put into life.
Yeah. And that's a lesson that carries over right when they get to the real world too. And in the classroom, like if you're not hitting the books, like you're not going to have good grades. So that's a great mission statement. And if I go in to see a game, or if any fan goes in to see your team play, what are they going to see? How is your team going to play?
A tough, hard-nosed team that's not going to quit. You know, going to play really, really hard. You know, we have a saying that we say at the end of practice, and I got it from my uncle. You know, it stuck with me my whole life, especially by being a small guard myself. But my uncle used to always say, if you see me and the bear fighting, don't help me, help the bear. And we say that at the end of every single practice because we want to nail down that toughness in us. You know, so no matter who we playing, no matter their ranking, help them, don't help us, because we're going to be prepared and ready to go to war.
I love it. I love it. And it's just like the old saying, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog too.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I know you guys are going to fight every single night because you're a fighter. And us being small guards, you always told me you got to be the toughest person out there. So I know your team's going to be really tough. So why do you coach, and what fuels your fire every single day when you head into practice?
Man, I just love the game. You know, I love kids. You know, when I was coming up, I see a lot of things now that I didn't have coming up as far as coaching, training, development, coaches that actually care about kids first. You know, and when I walk in the gym and I see those guys, man, like it just brightened up my day. No matter how hard my day was before I got to practice, when I see those guys, it brightens up my day. Now, don't get me wrong, they work my nerves. They work my nerves. But man, just to see them competing and going hard and trying to fulfill their dreams, that's the key thing that keeps me coming to the gym every single day.
I love it. And I know you're going to continue to care about these kids. I mean, even when they leave your program and go off to college or whatever, you're going to continue to make an impact in their life. Speaking of making an impact, who are some of the people that made an impact in your life and your coaching career along the way too? Like who's sort of like your role models?
Man, the first and foremost, man, is Rick Lewis. I mean, just watching him, the way he ran a program when everybody thought that the Carolina Flight couldn't do anything. I tell you, I remember my little brother was playing with the Charlotte Royals, 10 and under. And we was playing against the Carolina Flight. And we looked at the Carolina Flight like, yeah, we're about to crush them by 50. And roles was reversed. We got crushed by 50. And just a testament of Coach Rick teaching you guys to play the right way. You know, when to make a bounce pass, how to make an entry pass, you know, things of that nature. And so watching him and then coaching with him and allowing him to mentor me really taught me a lot about the game and how to approach the game, which is one of the key things that I always take in my coaching. Coach Frank Hamrick is another one. Man, that guy, I love that guy to death. You know, just watching him, how he pays attention to detail on the offensive end and run a set and make sure you run a set and stay in the set and trust the process. You know, those two guys are probably the biggest coaches influence of my career right now.
Sounds good. Those are two good ones right there.
Oh, so, yeah.
Two great ones. And I hopefully my dad's ego don't get too big since you said that.
Oh, yeah.
He
Nah, he's
won't.
one of the most humble guys I know.
I know he's so humble, even kill. So he's good. So my last question to you is your biggest life lesson that just carries over to coaching with your family that you kind of just tell your family, your kids, and even your players.
The biggest thing is be selfless. You know, care about other people. You know, focus on other people. You know, I feel like if I take my kids and I show them the right way, they will show their kids the right way. Their kids will be shown the right way, and it just keep going on. You know, same thing basketball world. You know, if I'm coaching a kid and hopefully he becomes a coach at some point, he can take the lessons that I taught him about caring about kids, doing what's right by kids, and he can teach the kids that he coach. You know, so my biggest thing is caring about someone else first before you care about yourself.
Sounds good. That's the way to just put that. Every person should live by that motto: put other people before yourself. And I truly agree with that. And if you do that, you're not only going to be a great basketball coach, but you're going to be even a better person, and you're going to make so much of an impact on this world. And Coach, I really appreciate you coming on here. You made like I said, you made a tremendous impact on my life. I really love being coached by you at such an early age. You're a huge mentor, helped my game in so many ways, and I can't thank you enough. And I really appreciate you coming on here this morning and being on here.
I appreciate you having me, man. It was an honor coaching you. It was an honor, trust me. It was easy too because you was a gym rat, so that made it a lot easier.
Sounds good, Coach. Well, I appreciate you, and thanks again.
All right, thank you for having me.